Hello, this is Alison from Berroco with another video for our mystery knit along. And in this one, I'm going to go over the stitch pattern we used in block number 4. It is a tuck stitch, which is a type of textured stitch pattern that we make using slipped stitches. So to work this stitch, the first row is just a purl row, and for row 2 is where we're going to start to get into our slip stitches. So I'm going to knit 2, and now I'm slipping 1 stitch with the yarn in front of the work 3 times. So I'm going to move the yarn to the front, and then I'm going to slip these stitches purl-wise, meaning I'm slipping them, putting the needle in as if I was going to purl the stitch, because if I were to put the needle in as if to knit the stitch, that turns the stitch around so that it faces the other way, and we don't want that. So typically, if you see slip 1 and it doesn't tell you purl-wise or knit-wise, you're going to slip the stitch purl-wise. So I've slipped my 3 stitches, and now I'm going to bring the yarn to the back again to knit the next stitch. And you can see here that it made this little strand going in front of the stitches. You don't want to pull too tight on that. You want that strand to really be kind of the width of those stitches. And I'm going to do that again. Yarn to the front, slip 3, and then I'm going to bring the yarn to the back to knit the next stitch. If you want to see that holding the yarn in the right hand, you would bring the yarn to the front, slip 3, and then we're going to knit the stitch, so we have to bring the yarn to the back again, and then knit 1, and knit our last stitch. The wrong side rows are all knit 1 and purl across to the last stitch and knit 1. And now I'm starting row 4, which is the next right side row. So I'm going to knit 2. And then I'm beginning my pattern repeat with a knit 1. And now we have LST, which is our special abbreviation for lift strand. So I'm going to insert the right hand needle underneath that loose strand that was running across from the last right side row. And I'm going to knit that next stitch, lifting the stitch in front of the strand. So I'm bringing the strand over the stitch, and then I knit 2, and that completes that repeat. Starting the next repeat, again I do knit 1, and then I go underneath the strand, and I knit this stitch, and I bring that stitch underneath so that the strand goes behind the stitch. I knit 2, knit 1 more for the beginning of the next repeat. You'll notice I'm always doing this, those 3 slip stitches, I'm always knitting the stitch that's in the middle of those 3 stitches that we slipped over in the last right side row. I go underneath, and I knit the stitch, and I bring the stitch under the strand. And then I knit the rest of the stitches in this row. Now we have another purl row. Okay, now we're going to start row 6, our next right side row, and this one is very similar to row 2, it's just offset. So we're going to start with knit 4 this time. 4. And now these are the 3 that we're going to slip with the yarn in front. So I move the yarn to the front, I slip these 3 stitches purlwise, and now I'm going to knit the next stitch. I again bring yarn to the front, slip these 3, and then knit the next stitch. I do that to my last 3 stitches, and I knit those 3. And you'll notice that this makes this nice little pattern where now the stitches that we slipped over, you can see how they line up with the stitches that we slipped over the last time and where those strands ended up. We're going to do our next wrong side row. And now row 8. Row 8, this next right side row is similar to row 4, but again, just offset. So we're going to start with knit 4. And then we're going to knit 1 so that we get to that center stitch of the 3 that we slipped over. So we're right in the middle of that, where that strand is. We're going to go underneath the strand, knit that stitch, and bring a stitch underneath the strand, and then we knit the next 2, and then starting the next repeat, we knit 1, we go under the strand, knit the stitch, and pull it under, and then we knit. Wrong side row. So now we have done all the rows of the pattern stitch, and I'll just start the next repeat of the pattern stitch so you can see how it lines up. I've done row 1 again, so for row 2, our next right side row, we knit 2, and then here's where we're slipping our 3 stitches with the yarn in front. Yarn to the back and knit 1. So you can see that again we have those stitches lining up. You can see how that knit 1 is right over where the LST, that lifting the strand part, was from the previous repeat. And then I'm going to slip these 3, knit the next stitch, slip these 3, and knit. So as you do this stitch pattern, I would encourage you to really look at your knitting so you can see how this lines up. And as you really look at that and read your knitting and see how everything lines up, that just makes it easier to be able to memorize the pattern after you've done a couple of repeats. And that is all there is to it.